Hi, my name is Jonathan, and this is my video response to PoyDog12345 about giving your children adult supervision. Now, PoyDog had mentioned the other day he had seen a small child at Walmart, a small Chinese girl, like a 5-year-old girl, without her parents, and he had seen two separate strangers take this little girl by her hand and help her find her parents. And so PoyDog was so concerned about this little girl being abducted. And PoyDog had mentioned he had his own daughter, and he was so afraid of her being abducted. So I was listening to that, I was thinking back to my own childhood. I grew up in the early 80s, and I grew up in a national forest. And my parents, they just let me loose all by myself into 3,000 acres of woods. Like, I would walk by myself without any adult supervision into the woods with just my two dogs, and I would do this as young as like 3 years old. Like, I did this from like being 3 years old up into junior high, just walking in the woods all by myself. Like, initially, up until I was 10 years old, I would walk in the woods nude. Like, I felt so free in the woods. I would walk around naked in 3,000 acres of woods. And that ingrained within me just this spirit of freedom, just this independence. I highly value independence. So that was a good thing about not having any adult supervision. So, and also, back in the mid-'80s, we had lived in Philadelphia for 3 years. And even in Philadelphia, my parents would just let me loose all over the city without any adult supervision. And I would just ride my bike all around town, and I made a lot of friends that way. Just me and my group of friends, we just all hang out without any adult supervision. We just had so much fun. So, like, in both rural setting and urban setting, in both the country and in a city setting, I had no adult supervision, and I love that. That ingrained within me freedom and just a valuing independence. So today, I just bemoan the loss of innocence from the early 80s to today, 21st century. That today, I rarely see children playing outdoors in general, or much less seeing children play outdoors without their parents. Like, I have been to 18 countries, and that is one huge difference between American culture and the rest of the world. So when I go to third world, especially third world countries, you see children all over the place. Children playing together outside without any adults around them. And I love that about third world countries. Just children all over the place playing and having fun and just no adults around them. But in American culture, like, you rarely see children playing outside. Childhood today is spent mostly indoors in American culture. That's what it seems like. Like, rarely do you see children outdoors. So that is one thing that is really desperately missing in American culture is children. I mean, and children playing outdoors. So that is a bad thing about this huge focus on having adult supervision. This whole culture, this whole atmosphere of fear that inundates American culture. It's perpetuated by our media, just instills within adults who have children this fear of their children being abducted or kidnapped. So that adults are so afraid, American adults are so afraid of their children, something bad happening to their children, that they rarely let them outdoors, and they do not give them that sense of freedom or independence. So, like, and it's funny because I'm thinking about, like, ideology. Meaning, like, me growing up, my parents, they were not protective of me playing outdoors by myself. They let me play outdoors by myself without any fear of me being abducted. But at the same time, my parents, back in the early 80s, throughout the 80s, they're so protective of the music I listen to. They're very strict about me not listening to certain types of music, me not learning about certain aspects, certain values and ideologies, protecting my ideology intake. So it's funny because I have 3 daughters now, and I am very protective of them. Like, but I am not protective of them concerning their ideology. Like, I want them to expand their horizons ideologically. I want to learn different ideas, different religions. I give them the freedom to listen to all types of music. My daughters are 6, 8, and 9, and I give them the freedom ideologically, like learning about everything, most everything on the internet, and just learning about other religions and other ideas. I give them that freedom, but I do not let them play outside by themselves because I am so protective. And there's a couple reasons my being like that, so protective to my daughters. Like when I love taking my daughters to the parks, taking them hiking, taking them to museums, and to the beach. But I am never 10 feet away from them. I never let them out of my sight. I'm so protective of them because I do have that fear of them being abducted or abused in some way. So it's like ironic because growing up, my parents did not give me the freedom ideologically, protecting me from certain ideas and from music and the pop culture and all that. But contrasting that, I give my daughters the freedom concerning pop culture and ideas, but I give them constant supervision all the time. So like what my parents did for me, I appreciate them letting me roam the city and the countryside all by myself. But like today, they would go to jail for that, for neglect. You know, it's funny. But there is a negative side about that. Me growing up without no supervision whatsoever, because the negative side about that is that I was abused. I was sexually abused by strangers on at least 3 separate occasions as a result of me not having adult supervision. So that's an even bigger reason why I give my daughters so much protection, because I know what I know what the world is like. I know what people are like out there. And it's not like there's more bad people today than there was back then in the early 80s. I think people are more protective now for a good reason. This whole culture of fear is there is some sensibility to it, because there's not more bad people today than there was back then, but people are more protective. I'm rambling, but okay. My response to Poi Dog was that I understand. I also have that fear of my children being abducted or abused in some way. But I'm thinking, to a degree, there is a huge sense of irrationality to Americans having that fear for their children being abducted. We are brainwashed by the media. Like our media, they just brainwash us and give us this atmosphere of fear of our children being abducted, so that we do not give them that independence to just play outdoors by themselves. That's all I wanted to say. I just bemoan the fact that American culture has this loss of innocence regarding children, and that children are not playing outdoors as much as they should. This was all my response. So, alright, thank you.